you have an amazing friend that we thought, we would hope to have on the podcast with you, Zach, who you developed a friendship with and a relationship with while you were in Afghanistan, who was a translator, right?
Yes.
And you guys built this friendship. Give us just a little glimpse of that, of what that was and what that meant and why that was so powerful that you've remained friends and then wrote a book together.
Sure. At the nascent phases of our relationship, it was very transactional. I needed to speak to local people who spoke Pashto. He spoke Pashto and spoke English, and so and he was also good at his job. Many of the interpreters were quitting because of how risky it was in that at that time in Afghanistan, and so he was good at his job, and he showed up and went on patrols. Very quickly, that relationship moved beyond being transactional when he took extreme measures where he exposed himself to risk and dangers that were well outside of his job description. Zach, he went from somebody who just worked for us to he became one of us.
We didn't think we are like different people. If we die, we all die same place. We gotta help each other.
When the Taliban was trying to kill him and he was eligible for a specific program, he said, "Can you help?" I owed my life to him, like quite literally. But beyond the fact that he had saved my life at given points, it was just based on principle, the right thing to do. And so we spent 5 years submitting for this visa application. We could not surmount the bureaucracy, and it came down to a personal friend of mine who was at the airport last summer when everybody's familiar with those images. I had a friend there who, through his own courage, heroism, and his team pulled Zach and his family through the gate. The bonds that you form under fire are unique. And we can kind of talk about this idea of the role of the leader or the kind of the head man in the platoon is like you can't pass down your worries and your anxieties and your stress to your Marines. Like you have to as a leader, you have to hold those. And Zach was, since he wasn't technically one of my Marines, I could kind of confide in him. And so not only did he save my life physically, but, from my own kind of mental, probably saved me from having a mental breakdown.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love hearing that.
What did it teach you about male friendship? Like, did you ever have I think on this podcast, we talk a lot about how men have trouble building that kind of intimacy with other men. What did it sort of teach you about that went against what you had learned about how to relate to other men?
Certainly that was just a almost at that point survival necessity that I be vulnerable. Like I was quite literally over capacity, over pressurized, over stressed that I had to have a valve. I had to release some of that, and by talking to somebody, certainly like so much healing can happen through discourse. And so to trust him that he would, not share what I was saying, but so that like there's some trust there. There's some obviously kind of communication, but it was really out of a matter of necessity. But then it kind of grew into friendship, and I think male friendships in particular, like any type of relationship or friendship, they just take communication and consistency. And so we often think we're too busy or we don't make, and like no relationship will flourish unless it's watered and fed. I have 2 or 3 friends that we have a schedule that we will see each other once a month, like no matter what.
Schedule it in.
And that when we're not in the same state, like we will the phone call before either of us go to work. So that means 4 a.m., like very painful for us both. But we've got to make this happen. And so it just like any other kind of relationship or friendship, it really kind of takes communication, commitment. And I think they'll grow.
Be as disciplined in your, friendships with men as you are in any other part of your life as a man.